Rose Lavelle coming off the bench, and that is obvious. She's not maybe fully 90 minutes fit, but she looked pretty sharp when she got there. There were I remember seeing tweets in the lead up to the first match where the U.S. Soccer was posting pictures of Rose Lavelle training, and the comments were essentially like, "Hey, can you please post a video of Rose kicking a ball holding today's newspaper?" Which was such a great because everybody wanted to make sure she's okay. But given that the lineup seemed a little unorthodox, is the lineup against Vietnam? How many of those players you think will also start against Netherlands? Because to me it felt like a little bit of a weaker lineup.
Yeah, it's funny. Squad rotation is definitely important in a tournament. In 2019, so the U.S. they had that 13-0. They put out their best lineup in the first game. Second game was against Chile, and the coach at the time, Jill Ellis, I think she started like 10 different players, or at least 9. Alyssa Nair in goal, and I think there might have been one other player that started both games. Because of the makeup of this group, a little bit different because the most important game again is the second game. So you want to put out your best lineup in the first match, but you also have to have an eye on that second game, and I think that's what current U.S. coach Vlatko Andonovski did. To answer your question, I think we're going to see the exact same lineup with that one exception, Rose Lavelle, who scored in that final in 2019, the back-breaking second goal that essentially sealed the World Cup win, the second consecutive World Cup win for the U.S. So I think, again, when Rose Lavelle went down with the knee injury in April, the idea all along was to make sure she was ready to come back to start in that Netherlands game. She's a unique player in the U.S. Player pool. We know how creative she is, and I think having her on the field from the start will go a long way to unlocking the defenses. She's so creative. She's a playmaker. She can score. She can set up goals. So I fully expect her to start. Spoke to her after the game. She said she told Vlatko she's capable of whatever assignment he wants from her. She can start. She can come off the bench. I said, can you go 60? Can you go 90? She said, I can do whatever. So the plan, I think, is for Rose Lavelle to start in that match, and that's the best U.S. lineup. So she's a difference maker. We saw that just in her brief cameo. I think she played 27 minutes in the opener. She hit the crossbar. She's breaking lines with her dribbling. She's such a fun player to watch. She's doing Cruyff turns. I'm sure she'll do that against the Netherlands. So yeah, really special player, and I think she's the key in a lot of ways for the U.S. in this game. But that's the only change I'm really expecting here.
Yeah, it's I don't want to necessarily make this exact comparison, but when Sergio Busquets was announced that he was gonna go to Inter Miami, my first thought was like, oh man, Busquets, I mean, he's over the hill. What's he gonna really do? He's not gonna go box to box or whatever. And then when I saw him play in the game against Cruz Azul, I'm like, oh my God, this is the exact thing Inter Miami needed to unlock some of these defenses. And that's how I feel about Rose Lavelle, where it's just, I went from being, one of the first big interviews that we ever had on our show was when Rose Lavelle came to our studio in like 2008, and right in early 2019, before the World Cup roster was announced. And I always have this thing where whenever I meet an actual player, all of a sudden I have like this emotional investment in their career and their well-being. And Rose Lavelle is like, this is my daughter who is playing at the World Cup. I hope she's okay. So she went from, I was so terrified and worried about her injury, and then she's doing Cruyff turns against the Vietnamese. I'm like, okay, I guess Rose is okay. Why were they being so tight-lipped about like her injury? Maybe it seemed like a tactic almost against the other nations.
Yeah, totally. I mean, she came out. She's like, I'm fine. Like, there's nothing, no problems at all. Like, there's nothing wrong with me. I think they did bubble wrap her. Honestly, I think that was, but because she is so important. I mean, she's a one-off. She's a great personality, as you know. Her teammates love her. She's funny. She keeps the team loose. And she's such a great player. Again, there's no one else like her. There's no one else that can do what she can do. So I really think she's the key to this, and yeah, I expect her to be starting going forward from here.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't see a route that we win the World Cup without Rose Lavelle being there and obviously playing at the top of her level.